Okay, we're live now.
We are
Good
live and
morning.
ready to go.
Yes.
Happy Tuesday. I
A
feel like I
little
never
late,
know
but
what
we
day
got
it is
here.
anymore. Yeah. But always technical difficulties. We try our best not to, and we're always on the road someplace. But it shows just how important this is to us to really update you in the market because I know so many people are seeing so many things on Facebook, Instagram, and just again, like we talk about, like clickbait, fake news type things, which is so important to talk to a professional because we did see some major gains last week in rates and how they're better. But then yesterday and today, we just lost all of that, which
All of that.
in our world feels like, oh crap, you know? But at the same time, it doesn't really affect crazy, right?
Yeah. And I think the bright side, like something that people need to keep in mind is we're still not, even though we've lost all the gains and all the progress that we made last
Yeah.
week, we're still not back in the sevens or mid sevens like
Yeah.
we were just a couple months ago. So it's still, housing is still affordable. It
Yes.
is a little bit more affordable than it was 6 months
Affordable.
ago. I know, right? Quote unquote. Um, but it's just a matter of time for, we just got to give the market some time to kind of stabilize itself, and it's going to be a couple weeks, possibly even a month or so, because there's so much going on in our economy. There's so many shifts happening, and the tariffs, I mean, you've been saying it since day one. It is a big component on why we're seeing all the market just kind of going up and down. Like,
Yeah.
there's no stability right now. So
And
just
you
be
don't
patient.
want people to just wait to buy. I saw a good statistics. I actually saved it and I'll try to show it on here. I should have sent it on my screen, but something really important to note is in the past 75 years, and I'll show this on my screen too. We've only seen pricing reductions 7 times in 75 years. And the most that we've ever seen, okay, a good friend of mine, Kristen Euclid, posted this on here. Housing prices from 1950 to 2024. And in 1990, we only saw zero point 0.7. In 1991, we saw zero point 0.2. And that was rates were kind of high then. Like
Right.
it was a crazy time. And then in 2007, and then think about this, the other 5 years, in 75 years, the other 5 years that we saw housing prices decrease were in our bubble burst: 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. And we have not seen any decreases since then. So it's
No,
really important to note that. And I'll kind of show on my screen. We'll share this too on our social medias. But I mean, look, it's just constant improvement. So everybody was like, I'll just wait for the bubble to burst. This is 75 years. 75 years. It's crazy.
right. And just month over month, the median home price, the listing prices rose 3%.
Yeah.
So even with everything going on in the background, right, and with the market, like, we're still seeing an increase in home prices. So I think if you're still on the fence to purchase, you're missing out. You're leaving money on the table, really, right?
You're
Because
leaving equity on the table.
equity,
Exactly.
yeah, that's
Yes.
exactly what I'm saying. Like, we're still seeing an increase in home prices, so that's money that could be yours, right? So don't miss out on the opportunity, and don't get so caught up in what's going on in the news, and just make sure you schedule a call with us and really get realistic numbers, right? Because I think oftentimes when we set those scenarios up for our clients and we go over it, they're like, oh, like, they're just surprised that it's not what the media's portraying it to be,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think another big thing too that we really want to talk about is everybody is a little bit worried because, of course, if you looked at your 401k, it was literally crashing and freaking out. Okay, this is why you don't look
Yeah.
at those things, because I have a friend in one of my networking groups too that has also talked about in his financial advisor world. If you put $10,000 in S&P 500 back in like 1973, I believe it was, it would be like $2.2 million today. So, and think about that. That's through war, that's through 9/11, that's through everything where we've really experienced major controversy. And anybody who's nervous, we actually, unfortunately, need to see some sort of recession. And unfortunately, in our decade, the generation where we're at, the last recession that we really know is the housing crash. But that's not going to happen again because that was bad loans,
Right.
hated loans. And so unfortunately, we have short memories. And so having recessionary times is important for economics because the rubber band can only stretch so far, right? So it's super important. And so that's why good information and not doing scare tactics, but rather giving proper information for people is the most important thing.
Absolutely. And I think there is the silver, there's still hope that once all this gets figured out with the tariffs, like we're still expecting rate cuts later on. The federal rate cut, it has been already kind of, there's buzz around that. So there's something that we can look forward to kind of help ease what's going on this quarter, because I don't think we're going to see any of it this quarter, maybe in Q3 and Q4. So if you're still on the fence, I think it's definitely important to schedule a call with a professional and just get realistic scenarios. And then something else that I saw that I think was pretty interesting was that boomers are now not just the largest home sellers, but also the largest buyers. So if you are a real estate agent and you kind of want to target that audience, just know that you may be getting a little bit more sales and more listings and buyers. No, you're good. I was just telling our audience, I was telling our audience that I had read that boomers are now making up the largest listings, home sellers and buyers.
Yeah.
So kind of knocked us millennials down.
Well, and let's talk about why too. Let's talk about why. Because of equity. Yes. And here's a couple things why. So I always tell everybody, a lot of first-time home buyers come like they're going to find their perfect house out front. I have lived in 6 houses in the last 8 years, and I've bought 7 houses in the past 10 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so each of those houses has afforded me to go to the next house because I've made equity on every single one of them. That's another thing why I really kind of tell people to double think when they're buying a new build, because I know it seems like shiny and new and things like that, but it's the hardest house to build equity in. Whereas if you find something that needs a little bit of work, you build it up, get a townhouse, get something, and then build that equity up and then go buy your next house and then your next house until you get to the house that you want for your dream house while staying in that payment. Because we've got boomers right now walking away from these 2.75. And mind you, these are people that saw 12 to 15% rates. A good friend of mine, her parents literally stood in line like Black Friday overnight back in the 80s to get 15, or I think it was 12.5%. Sorry, 12.5%. They stood in line. The first 100 people got 12.5%. Talk about violation of equal housing. But that's why it's important to think like people are always going to buy. People are always going to have a place that they need to live. So it's really important to just stay educated and don't instill fear tactic. Like really show them, because now's the best time. If rates come down this summer, like I know everybody's like waiting for that. It's the anticipatory spot. Like let rates come down. Let rates come down. Well, we know what happens when rates come down. Everybody and their mother, brother, sister, cousin is going to be out there trying to get the house. And now the seller concessions that you could have got to buy your rate down, gone. Yeah. You're going to have to not only have your 3.5% saved as a first-time home buyer, but you're going to need 3% saved. And so it's super important to look at that. And I also know everybody thinks there's this like magic first-time home buyer thing out there too, but that's really important to note as well. That like just because you're getting $10,000 or whatever, it may be actually more money out of your pocket because you've now got to get 4 to 5% concessions from a seller as well.
From a seller, yeah.
And that's huge.
I agree. I laugh when you said there's not like a magic, first time home buyer program. Every time I get a phone call from a client, they're like, well, we're first time home buyers. What program do you have? And it's like, well, let's get your scenario, because you may be better off going the conventional route, the traditional conventional FHA route. Obviously, we're going to explore all options. And I think working with a broker gives you that ability, right? To make sure.
And some people that scenario is good for. Like if that's the only way you get into a house, that's how we get into a house.
Yeah, it's all about whatever we need to do to get you in the house, right?
Yeah.
But I personally just always get the question, oh, we're first time home buyers. What, give me the first time home buyer program.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Like you qualify for a conventional or you qualify for an FHA, it's going to cost you less money in the long run. Like this is right? So I think it's very important to get educated and weigh out all your options.
And another thing, a good note to segue into that is Hometown Heroes is coming back, which is Florida's sponsored down payment assistance, if you
Yes.
will. Okay. But also super important, it's not one size fits all. Let's be very clear. This is a 30-year repayable loan at 0% interest. So they're basically lending you the money. So let's talk about the reasons you have to pay it back. If you decide to move out and rent your property, you must pay it back immediately. There's not a leniency period. You cannot rent this property in 30 years. If you refinance for a lower rate, you must pay it back. If you sell, you must pay it back. If you reach 30 years, you must pay it back. So again, not for everybody, but a great scenario for somebody that literally cannot achieve homeownership any other way. So I always caution people to let's literally lay out your plan. Like, is this a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year house? Because if you think about it, if they've got 5% of whatever the loan amount is, right, that they can get, and then in 2 years their job changes and they have to move, or their life changes, or something happens with their children or their spouses or whatever, and they have to move, now they have to pay realtors, plus they have to pay that back. So you may be losing out on that equity because it's eating all your equity up because you didn't put anything to start with. Plus the rates are higher. So that's why it's really important to talk to Carolina or I and just really know what it looks like.
Right. No, and I think I've already gotten phone calls, text messages about the first-time home heroes, first-time Florida hometown heroes. However, although it is, expected, we still don't know how much funding we can anticipate. Like, we don't know.
And how quickly it will go.
We don't know if it's going to be 50 million, 100 million. Like, we don't know what that looks like. So, there's still a lot that we have to, we still have some time to find out exactly how much.
And we would love your questions. If you want to go back and watch any of our videos and you have questions on it, because a lot of times we can sit here and talk mortgages is what I call it. It's like a whole other language, and we don't realize that some people maybe don't understand what we're saying, and that's okay. So please ask us, because we want to break this down, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, so that way you can communicate properly to your buyers. And another thing is, I had an agent call me this week. She's like, and she's a newer agent, and she said, can you teach me the things I need to be able to tell them about loans? No. That's why you partner with a professional, so we can tell them. Like, we're not going to tell them values and what concessions you can get and what you think you can negotiate. This is why it's great. Say, hey, I'm really proficient in the real estate side. Let me connect you with my amazing partner. Let's get this done.
Yeah. No, I think that's very important always, right? To stay in our lane. I mean, I always get asked about insurance, and I'm like, I have no clue. Like, yeah. I kind of get the idea, right? But I don't want to speak on the experts, right? Like, that's their lane. Like, let me connect.
I know enough to be dangerous, right?
Exactly. Like, I'm going to connect you with someone that I know is going to get you the right answer and guide you in the right direction. So same thing with when we're working with real estate agents, right? It's like, the house you want sounds beautiful, but I don't know how to find that house for you. But I can connect you with someone that can.
Exactly. And so that's super important. And if you guys want us to teach any classes for you, for your buyers or anything, please let us know. Our goal is to be here to help you. Like, we're happy to do some sort of seminar for your buyers, or even yourself in your office. Like, if there's a real estate office that wants us to come in and talk about these things in more depth so that you can better guide your clients to us, or even just have regular conversations of what the economy means right now. Like, what does this mean for them as buyers? And again, showing them that housing prices haven't dipped in 75 years more than 7 times, and 5 of those times were during an insane housing crash that we've never seen before and won't see again, to be honest.
Right. No, I don't think so. And I think people don't understand that there's a lot of regulations that came into place right after all that.
Good old CFPB.
Yes, exactly. So there's a lot to protect consumers and keep us within compliance too. So I don't think people understand that. That's why we're so, everything's not black and white when it comes to mortgages. It's because of all that's been put in place, all the regulations. So. And it's to avoid another crash. I mean, that's the way I see it. I think it's all within reason. So, well, Miss Ashley, you have a safe flight this morning.
Thank you. And if you guys have any questions, please message us. We would love to answer your questions. Absolutely. Love to be interactive on this. You can email us, private message us if you don't feel comfortable commenting. Just anything we can do to help you grow your business over time, please let us know, okay?
Yes, contact us.
See you guys
Bye.
next Tuesday. All right,
Yes,
bye.
bye.